Hi everyone, my name is Asaruka Yamamoto and today I'm playing World of Warships. What I have for you today is a review or at least a preview of the Paolo Emilio, the Tier 9 Italian premium destroyer. This is a new ship introduced in update 0.9.9 into the Research Bureau, so you can obtain this using research points. You have to reset lines for that when you're at tier 10, and then you can regrind them entirely and get those research points. This particular ship costs 33,000 research points if I'm not mistaken, so slightly more than 2 entire line resets. Which is quite a lot of effort, but yeah, it's a late game mechanic, of course. When you have a lot of ships, then it can be interesting. Now, the Paolo Emilio is the one tier 9 choice, while there's also the Ohio, Slava, and Colbert, all of which are tier 10 choices. But I decided to pick up the Paolo Emilio because it seems like a whole lot of fun. And sometimes you shouldn't necessarily pick the ships that seem the best, or yeah, even lately I've been getting ships a lot just because they are tier 10. Sometimes you just gotta go with gut feeling and get a ship because it seems like a whole lot of fun. And while the Paolo Emilio doesn't seem like the strongest ship to me, it definitely looks like a lot of fun. Now, in the first battle, I would like to point out basically all of the weaknesses of this ship. It's got a lot of good points that we can also see in this battle, but it definitely has its weaknesses, and we'll find that. But in the second battle, I'll show what this ship is capable of in a good situation. If you're more interested in that, then you can skip over to the roughly, say, the 12-minute mark. But if you'd want to see why this ship has a bit of a manual, then do stick around. I'm trying to take the cap here, and unfortunately here we see I'm trying to dodge these torpedoes, but take a massive hit from them, from the gearing torpedoes in the middle there. I'm already down like 60% of my HP. Now I'm still trying to cap, but of course the cap was reset, and it's gonna be hard for me to take this cap. I'm located and the enemy team has a Goliath somewhere around here. I just don't know that yet, how it's actually a Drake, the tier 9 version. And he's going into the cap. He does have Hydro, so I need to bail. Now the problem with this is, yeah, normally I'd be able to just go to the flank here, to the side out here on the minimap, see if I can get some torpedoes on the Montana, Thunder, or Ibuki. But the thing is, that's not really how the Paolo Emilio works. The ship basically has two modes. Long range gunfights, you don't really want them to be at too close of a range, or very short range torpedoing. Now the torpedoes have a 6 kilometer range, which really isn't all that long, but they hit like a truck, and these are basically Shimakaze torpedoes when it comes to damage. And that makes for some very interesting gameplay, but there are some major downsides to it, and one of them most pronounced downsides is actually that the ship is not exactly stealthy. Coming in at 7.1 kilometers when built fully for stealth, it's one of the bulkiest destroyers out there. Yeah, and that's partially negated by the fact that you're pretty quick, and you can try to hunt down destroyers simply by rushing towards them. But when you don't know exactly where they are, that can be very tricky. You can of course try to negate that with the radio location skill. I haven't done so. Well, so okay, right now in this battle I really haven't done anything yet. I've just been sailing around, and then what would be the good points of this ship? So basically, first of all, this ship is incredibly fast. I'm now trying to relocate to the sea flank, and there's a Minnesota here, and I'm basically going twice his speed, which isn't that hard because it's Minnesota, but the base speed of the Paolo Emilio is somewhat like 45 knots, somewhere in that range. I think it's 43 and a half, and then I stick the engine flag on it or something like that, the Papa I think it is. So with that, it is the fastest destroyer in the game for base speed. Now the French destroyers actually do get a higher top speed, and they can maintain that top speed for longer. At least I think they get a higher top speed. No, maybe they don't get a higher top speed, but at least they can maintain their top speed very long, somewhat like 3.5 minutes or something like that. The Paolo Emilio can actually rush with his engine boost, but that's only a 50-second engine boost. We can see here that when you pop this engine boost, you really, yeah, it's basically warp drive activate out of the Stalingrad radar range, and that really helps. Now I had hoped to get to the Kremlin while he still had some HP. Unfortunately that failed, so far I haven't done any damage yet. Quite a shame. Now the interesting thing about this engine boost is you can go insanely fast with this engine boost, really like 55 knots, somewhere in that ballpark. And you can combine that with an exhaust smoke generator. Now unlike normal smoke screens, the exhaust smoke generator allows you to stay hidden while going at full speed. And this is not at any given speed. I mean, it's not like you need to go 30 knots max. No, it will do its job just fine at 55 knots. So basically what you'd like to do with the Paolo Emilio is either what I'm doing right now, yeah, not this, but what I was doing just before that, shooting at range at targets that won't hurt you back that much, or you want to smoke up, and of course you could be shooting, but ideally you want to just rush into an enemy battleship. You pop both your engine boost and your smoke, and the enemy battleship will just see a smoke screen rushing towards him, and they will basically not be able to do anything about it. And if that works, it works very well. Of course, it's a bit situational. But we can see in this battle I've actually tried to create these situations to see if I could rush the Kremlin, maybe the Ibuki, and the result has been absolutely nada. So right now I have 3000 damage. I've been hurt by the torpedo in the early game. I'm trying to get some shots on the Ibuki, and the first salvo was really quite good. With the semi-armor piercing shells. That's also a very particular thing about this destroyer. It actually has semi-armor piercing sap shells and high explosive shells as the ammunition loadout, unlike any other ship in the game. So far any ship in the game has high explosive and armor piercing, or just armor piercing for the British light cruisers. And in rare cases, of course, we have semi-armor piercing and then armor piercing for the Italian cruisers. But this ship is the first one to combine high explosive and semi-armor piercing, and that's really interesting because it will mean that you can deal massive damage to destroyers while still being able to set fires to destroyers or battleships, or depending on the situation. Now, in this battle, yeah, I haven't used my guns too much. I wouldn't have been able to do too much with these guns. If I'd used them too aggressively, I'd probably die. So this is a clear drawback about the ship. I can easily say that it's very, very situational. But right now, you're probably saying, okay, you're basically saying it's a fun ship, and from what I'm seeing right now, it seems complete crap. You can't get into torpedo range of your enemies properly. Take one hit and you're kind of out of the battle, and well, that's kind of true. If you have a bad battle, then it can just happen that you'll have a bad battle, so you won't be able to really recover from that. But then again, if you have a good battle, you can have very good battles with this ship, and I'm still getting used to this ship. Really got a lot of fine-tuning left to do, but nonetheless, I'd argue I'm quite sure that I will enjoy this ship. I might not have mastered this ship yet, but I'm quite certain that I will enjoy this ship. And one good example of that is the upcoming battle. So let's just dive right into that one. So in the previous battle I didn't really get to demonstrate where the Paolo Emilio really shines, and of course I said this is a fun ship and that it's got something special to it, so yeah, we didn't see that last battle. Now I think it's got something special, and I'd like to show that in this battle, so let's have a look. The guns are pretty good. You can get really good gunfights with destroyers. That is, yeah, I mean, you still need to trade. It's not as if you're bringing a Smolensk against something like a Shimagaza. It's more, I think it's kind of comparable to a Khabarovsk, as long as you basically dictate the fight. Then the Paolo Emilio can be really strong in destroyer versus destroyer fights. Once you're not dictating the fight though, that's where it starts to hurt, because the reload on these guns is very, very slow. I think it's around 10 seconds, so it really is mainly based on alpha strike, where you deal your damage. But of course you do have the smoke screen, you have the engine boost, and that can really help. And right here I already got nearly 4000 damage on the enemy Tashkent before we really started fighting, because, well, I got a shot at him and he didn't shoot at me. And now we're going in for round 2. He does shoot at me, but I simply pop my fuel smoke, which keeps me concealed while I'm at the move. I completely missed my first salvo, which is a bit of a shame. Need to lead a bit more there. But yeah, obviously the Tashkent is gonna have a hard time hitting me at these speeds in a smoke screen. And I can hit Tashkent relatively easily. That is, if he be spotted. Now I'll be out of my smoke, of course, and we can take a look if he's around. Doesn't seem to me, but still I got 7.5k damage on the Tashkent, while he did virtually nothing to me. So that's a pretty good deal right there. Some damage to the Kronstadt. And although our engine boost just disappeared, we're still going at a fairly high speed and we can just get away from this flank if needed. And it seems as if it might be needed because there's a Georgia, Kronstadt, Alaska and Izumo, as well as of course the Tashkent behind me. Normally the targets that I mention here, they would all be quite interesting to torpedo, but I'd need to get very close to them, and well, the combined firepower that they carry, I wouldn't make it very far in, so I just decided to instead divert a bit and see what this battle can bring. Now, of course, the really high speed on this ship allows you to relocate really quickly, and well, with a 13-kilometer range, which is not the base range, I believe. I believe I've improved it a little, but the range isn't actually all that bad. I think it's something like 11.8 base, something in that range. So you have a fair bit of range on the guns. That being said, I don't really want to start shooting at Tashkent because the chances of me hitting him are quite low. He's running away from me and I'll be spotted and I'll have the entire south flank shooting at me. So I'd rather wait for the Tashkent to either go down up north again, or maybe I'll just ignore him for now. Don't need to try and cap A because we've already got the A cap. Instead I'll try to back up my buddy Mad Guy, who's going towards the B cap. Gotta watch out a bit for the radar, but again, this ship is really quite quick, so well, that still hurt a little. There's 3 people aiming for me, but we can get out of Kronstadt radar range, so we shouldn't be radared anymore. And there we go. The engine does get knocked out, and that actually happens quite often in this game. And yeah, I don't know with this destroyer if it's because the ship is so fast that people tend to hit the back of your ship, or that it's just a very poorly protected engine. But it does get knocked out quite often, and that can be really frustrating. Right now I try to get the B cap, perhaps cap it, but of course I'm not that stealthy, so we'll have to see what the best course of action here is. Maybe go up north towards the seaside, maybe go down south. I haven't quite decided here yet. So Mad Guy in the Udaloy is now firing for the Ibuki to see if he can deal some damage, but it appears as though the Ibuki might be AFK, so I kind of tell Mad Guy at this point, okay, you know what, you might as well stop shooting at him, because if the Ibuki is gonna be like this, then I can get close range to him. I can simply, even though I will be spotted, I can simply get within 6 kilometers and drop some torpedoes. Normally this would be a completely stupid idea, I mean, like the dumbest you could do, but the Ibuki is AFK, so it's quite safe. I try and turn away, make sure I'm not spotted. I could go for the cap on B, and well, since there's no enemies really nearby, we might as well take the cap. Take some time, let the enemy close in maybe. And the torpedoes, will they hit? Is the Ibuki still there? Oh, they hit. And Well, since these are very hard-hitting torpedoes, we do get the devastating strike and picking up a very easy kill. Now we'd want to see if we can hurt the Fletcher a bit, if maybe we can do something about the Neptune, but the Neptune is a bit scary to deal with under this angle. So I decided to go down south here to protect myself against at least some of the incoming fire, because in the B cap I'd be in a crossfire from pretty much the entire enemy team. That's something that you gotta really be wary of when taking these aggressive positions. Now, basically what I want to do is just turn left here and rush the battleships that are up north there, and I'm going to. Now, I can't quite see what they're up to. My torpedoes will be reloaded soon, and right now I can see that there's a Georgia in a very nice position. So I decide to commit, throw my my smoke screen. There's torpedoes coming in, but I just happened to dodge them, and ooh, that was a close call. But here we can see what the Paolo Emilio really shines at. Coming in at a magnificent 50 knots, even pulling up in the smoke screen, fully concealed, and yeah, by the time the Georgia spots me, he is already dead. And I don't even think you'd really need the second set of torpedoes, because these torpedoes hit so incredibly hard that really there's no chance for him to survive that whatsoever. So yeah, I think that was a devastating strike even on the Georgia as well. And then we also have the Neptune, and by the time the Neptune realizes that perhaps he wouldn't want to be sitting there, he might even also be AFK. And we secure another kill. Now there is still a Fletcher sitting behind me, as well as apparently some destroyer that's spotting me. So yeah, I can simply cap the C cap now. And while we've had a fair bit of luck with the kill on the Ibuki and on the Neptune, I think we could have had the Neptune even if he was playing. Would have been a bit more tricky, but the rush on the Georgia really demonstrates what this ship is all about, and this is not, this is not the perfect battle in terms of creating these plays. I think it's really quite good, but the Paolo Emilio definitely has a lot more potential. Right now I still, I struggle a bit with unlocking that potential, and there's people who play this ship far better than I do. For me right now it's just a ship that I very much enjoy, really like it, but I haven't really mastered it yet. So basically I'd say it's really all about the fun for me, and yeah, I'll see if I get better at it, and if I do get a lot better at it, then who knows, I might post a follow-up to see, oh, Fletcher all the way out there, try to launch some torpedoes to him, do get them into the water, but unfortunately they miss. If I get a lot better at it, you'll probably see more of this ship, and even if I get a lot worse at it, you might see it eventually. But my verdict is mainly the Paolo Emilio. It's a pretty hard ship to play, but a damn lot of fun.